sun is shining, and I finally got an opportunity to change the crankshaft position sensor in my car. Also, as you guys can see, I've been kind of occupied getting myself ready for moving out for college, so that's always really exciting. And with moving out for college comes getting rid of literally everything you own. So if any of you guys want something, you're literally welcome to come to my house, raid through my closet, take my memes. Please, you can have them all. Kill me. Take my memes. Alright, so I've had my car up on the ramp since this morning, been letting the engine cool off, but I'm going to take a second to just sit down and explain to you guys what exactly we're doing. Okay, so the crankshaft position sensor is exactly as the word implies. It just tells the computer where the crankshaft is in its rotation. So, for those of you that don't know what a crankshaft is, basically, inside the engine block, there's what's called the crankcase, and in there is a crankshaft. Now, the whole idea of an engine is to convert vertical energy and motion from cylinders moving up and down into rotational energy that spins the engine, which is connected to the transmission, spins the wheels. Basic concept, right? So the crankshaft position sensor is just in line with the crankshaft, and as it rotates around, it tells the computer where the crankshaft is in its rotation, and the computer is able to fine-tune when to ignite the spark plug so that the cylinders are at like max power and efficiency, kinda, depending on how it's tuned. With the crankshaft position sensor being bad, essentially, like, the engine will still run mechanically, but it's not running super efficient right now, and the idle is kind of funny. So if you notice that your car is idling funny, your check engine light is on, which I'll get to that in a second, then there could be a sensor going bad. Now, not always. There are many things that cause rough idles, but in my case, this sensor going out is what's causing a rough idle, and kind of just rough engine running overall. Alright, so I'm sitting in my car, and when I turn the key to the on position, you can see, well, after those lights go off, you can see I've got that check engine light, and it's staying on even after the other lights are going off. So I'm going to plug in this little code reader, and I'll show you guys how to use one of these too. It's pretty simple. So you want to make sure that the car is off. I just leave the key out of the ignition. Then you want to plug this into the OBD2 port underneath the dash. I'll show you where you can find it. So in my car, it has the OBD2 port right here. Some of them have a little cover, some of them are over on that side. Kind of just depends on the car. But if your car is newer than 1996, I believe, it will have an OBD2 port. So just want to plug that bad boy in. As you can see, once you plug it in, the screen will light up. Then what you want to do is you want to take your key, turn it to the on position, and see what the code reader says. So as you can see, we just pressed enter when it said fault, and it's giving me the code P0340. I know that's the only code because it says 1 out of 1. So if you go online and you look up that code, P0340, that'll tell you what that code means. So in Ford's case, that's for the crankshaft position sensor. Now, a common misconception is that when people see that code, they might think that, okay, there's a timing issue, which may be right, but the way that you know that it's not a timing issue is usually if there's something wrong with the timing, it'll give you the code P0340 and then a few others, like P0341, P0343 if it's on the right hand side, I believe, or P0342 and P0344, which, okay, that's a lot of information, but basically, if it's a timing issue, it'll set off more than one sensor. The whole engine will be like, what are you doing? Luckily for me, it's just the one code by itself, so that leads me to believe that I just need to replace the sensor, which is what I'm going to do today. And if that doesn't work, then you can just disregard this video. Okay, so now we're to the point where we've got to start digging into this and find that sensor. So, the crankshaft position sensor is way down there, so I'm going to climb under the car and give you guys a better visual because I can't see anything from up here. Alright, so right now I'm up under the car, I'm looking at the underside of the engine. Now this right here is the AC compressor, and then this right here is what I call the crankshaft pulley or the harmonic balancer, whatever you want to call it. So, as you can see, there's a little wiring harness right here that's running into this sensor. That is the sensor that we're looking at. And if you kind of look closely, you can see how it kind of goes right into the engine block. But it's going to be a little bit complicated to get it out of there because you see this AC compressor is blocking that bolt that's holding our sensor on. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to take a couple bolts out of the AC compressor that are holding it up and just lower it down just a little bit. We don't have to completely remove it from the car. We just have to lower it down, and then we'll be able to get to that sensor up there. Alright, so to take our AC compressor off, we need to take this belt out of here. Not necessarily all the way off, but we need to at least loosen it so that we can take it off of the compressor down in there. So this piece right here, this right here is called the belt tensioner, and basically you just need to use a little 3/8 socket like this. You put it in the tensioner, and then you can loosen the tension off the belt. Alright, so correction on my last statement. You'll need a 1/2" ratchet or breaker bar to loosen this, not a 3/8. I mean, honestly, you shouldn't be listening to just some kid on YouTube. You should be asking your local mechanic. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this down like this, and it'll loosen the tension like that, and then I'll pull the belt off of here. Alright, so once you get the belt off of there, you can relax this, and the tensioner should slide up. Then, so that we can have some slack down there, you're basically going to want to just run this belt kind of down here, and then it should unloop off of the AC compressor, just like so. Perfect. So on the underside of the engine, there's going to be a few bolts that you're going to need to loosen to take the AC compressor off. So there's one up here, then there's two down here on the underside. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to unplug our crankshaft position sensor and the AC compressor sensor, whatever, I don't know. You think I'm a mechanic? And then I'll take those bolts off and then be able to lower this down out of the way so we can get to our sensor. Come here. Ah, gotcha. Alright, once you get these wires clear, you can kind of just push them back over there. Just make sure you don't forget to plug them back in once we're done with this. To get these 3 bolts off, you're going to need a 13mm socket, or you can use a drill. I don't feel like getting mine, so I'm using a socket. Shit. Okay, we're going to start with this one. I don't know if I can get this off. Okay, we're going to try power tools. Okay, take 2, the drill. Oh, you son of a... Aha! Got you. Alright, 1 down, 2 to go. Oh, man, I hate my life. Alright, now we're going to try a breaker bar. Just slide this gently. Maybe. Oh, get on there. Oh, you think you're clever? You think this is a freaking game, dude? Alright. Now I'm on that bolt. We'll get it. A couple clicks is all it takes. Ain't that right, ladies? Come on. Give me my tool back. Oh, you son of a... Watch your man, ladies. I think I... Oh, maybe? Yes? Please? Oh, yeah, baby! Alright. Last bolt here. Should come out pretty easy, hopefully. I hate you. Not to worry, ma'am. I'm a professional. Just when all hope seemed lost, Caden came through with the right tool for the job. Oh, I wish I had a lift. Yeah, we're turning it. Don't be afraid to get a little bit greasy. Especially you men. You know, every lady loves a man's hands, especially when they've been working. Am I right, all you females watching this? All 0 of you? I know know my demographic. Alright, so once you get all the bolts out of your AC compressor, you can kind of just let it dangle here. Just make sure you don't wrench it around too much because it's still connected. Now we can move on to our little sensor right here. So there's a small 8mm, I believe it's an 8mm, it might be 10. A small bolt that's holding the sensor portion onto there. So you just loosen that little bolt that's on there and then you pop the sensor out. I'll show you guys what I mean here in a sec. Okay, so note to self, invest in better lighting. But basically you just remove that little bolt on the sensor, like so. Take that off, spin it out with your hand, whatever it takes, you know? Not rocket science. So you get it loosened, and then you should just be able to pop the sensor right out of there. Just like so. And it is normal to see oil on it, considering that this is literally housing inside the crankcase, so yeah, let's get the new sensor. Alright, here you can see we've got the old sensor. This is the new sensor that's going to go in. Nice and new. Hopefully doesn't fail like this one did. Let's pop this new one in, put the car back together. Yep, you should hear it click too. And put that little bolt back on. Where you at? Make sure you tighten it down. I don't want to catch any of you leaving bolts loose. It doesn't have to be too tight, just get it to where it's snug. Yep, I'll do it. Alright, now I need both hands for this part, so I'm gonna just raise this compressor back up, get it right back in its spot, put the 3 bolts in, and then I'll see you guys at the top for the belt tensioner. Another thing I think it's important to mention is that a lot of times these cars will have clips that are on these little studs on these bolts. You want to make sure you put these clips back over them. And then of course you want to just plug back in the AC compressor like so. And then of course the crankshaft position sensor cable plugs right back in. We're back up here at the top. Basically I'm just going to loop that belt back over the AC compressor like so. So the next part I won't really be able to show on camera, but basically all I'm doing is just pushing the tensioner back down, and then I'll be able to loop this up and over the alternator pulley, and then she should be done. Another thing that sadly I should mention is that you want to make sure that the belt has these ribs that go over the other ribs on the pulleys. You don't want to be crossing over at all or overlapping the belt over the edge of it, because if you start the engine with it like that, you could just shred your serpentine belt, and you really don't want to do that. So just make sure that all the ribs line up with the little creases on the belt, and then you should be good to go. Alright, so we got all the bolts back in, belt back on. I think all there is left to do is to start it up and check to see if our idle's looking better. So it's a little bit hard to tell right now because of course the engine is cold, but I'm going to let it warm up for a second and then I'll take a look at the idle. Alright, so the car's not fully warmed up yet, but the idle is super smooth. I mean, yesterday when I started it, it was just kind of all over the place and it was running really rough. So as the car warms up, the idle will drop down to about 800, but I'm also going to take it on a test drive just to make sure. But before I do that, I'm going to show you guys how to clear codes on the code reader. So you just want to plug this back into that port I showed you at the start of the video, click enter, hit scanning, make sure you turn the key on. So we're going to click enter, and we're going to scroll down, click erase, yes, perfect. Now if we go here, we should just be able to unplug this. And if we start the car, our check engine light should be off. Unless I did this wrong, we'll try it again. Yep, just like that. That's another reason why when you buy a used car, you should make sure to take it to a mechanic or somebody that knows a bit about cars, because it's so easy to just clear a check engine light on a car. So someone can say, there's no lights on the dash. You buy the car, it's a good deal. you drive off, and then 10 minutes later your check engine light comes on and you're like, why? What's going on? So keep that in mind. Make sure you guys pick up your tools too. Don't want to piss off your dad. Test driving my car now. It's been running really smooth, honestly. Like, power band is a lot smoother, idle is a lot more stable, and it's a lot more fun to drive now, not worried about it with the check engine light on. A beast. Alright, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm not exactly sure how long it's gonna be, kind of just depends on where I make the edits and whatnot, but I got more content coming. The next video is gonna be about the giveaway winner, so be sure you stick around for that. I think he's really gonna like it, so I hope to see you guys soon, and also stay tuned for some college vlogs, so yeah, should be good. Alright, peace out. Make sure you like and subscribe down below, all that good stuff. Add me on the social media. I'll see you guys next time.